This month's German pack is linked to 4 different songs. So instead of a book this time, we've got some songs. And in your pack, you should find cards with the lyrics on. So we've got Das Lied über mich, Unser kleiner Bär im Zoo, Zeigt her eure Füße, and Das ist gerade, das ist schief. And for this one, I've put the translation, the English card in there as well, just in case your child wants to look up the meaning of it. These ones are fairly straightforward. They should be able to work these ones out, and we'll be going through them in the sessions as well. So you've got your lyrics. Then, so the song Das ist gerade, das ist schief has actions to it, and it's all about opposites. So this 3-card pack here has all of the opposites, or most of the opposites that are in the song, and your child would use them just normally as they would do 3-part cards. So the first time, starting with laying out the biggest card, which has the picture and the word on it. They lay those ones out, then they match just the pictures to them and the word as well. And once they're confident and they feel like they know some of these opposites now, then they would be able to start with the smaller cards, see if they match what they think goes with it, and then use one of the bigger cards to check to see if they were right or not. Once they've had a go at doing the 3-part cards in those ways a couple of times, they can see if they can actually match the opposites. So again, they could do this with the full card to begin with, or they could start with just the words. So they could have dunkel and hell, for example, offen and zu, hoch, tief, dick, dünn, and then they can use these ones to see if they're right. So there's hell, hell was light. There's dunkel, dunkel is dark. So they know that they've got those 2 right. They've managed to put these into pairs of opposites, and they can just work through and use these as their control cards. Then we've got Das Lied über mich. It talks about, there's lots of songs, but there isn't a song about me, and then the song goes on to describe, or the person in the song goes on to describe themselves, and some body parts are mentioned in there. So we have these cards here where the children can use the labels to fill in the spaces on here, and they can use this one as their control sheet to see whether they've got it right. So they need the little packet that says body parts on there, and they just simply have a look at the word Das Herz and put it to the one where it's pointing. Der Arm, which one's pointing at the arm? That one there. And then they can use this to check to see if they have it right. They could also draw a picture of themselves and put these labels onto the picture of themselves, or they could write the words onto a picture of themselves. You could even photocopy this and they could write the words in there if they wanted to keep a record of it. Then, after they're quite familiar with the words for the body parts, we have a packet that says body parts, singular and plural. Now there should be labels in here that say singular and plural. See if we can find them. And these words are actually the same in German too, which is quite handy. Singular and plural. And to begin with, take out the red cards with the brackets on. We'll look at those in a while. So first of all they want to do with these is match up. So we've got singular, das Bein, which they should remember is the leg if they've worked through this activity, and then they can match that up to the plural, die Beine, der Bauch, and they match that up to die Bäuche. So maybe after 1 or 2 times of just matching these up, just like that, a third time you might want to say to them, okay, let's have a look at how you make the plural in German. What would we do in English? A lot of the time in English we add an S, but we can see from this list here that there's no S's on the end of these German words. So let's see if we can work out what they have done to the word to make it plural. And they should notice that the word the is always die when it's plural. And for this one here, das Bein, die Beine, they should be able to say, okay, I can see they've added an E on the end. And they go through each card one by one, saying what you do to make each word plural. So we've got der Bauch, die Bäuche. This one, they've added an E and they've put an umlaut on the A. And then you keep going. This one, they've added an E and put an umlaut on the U. This one, they've added an EN. So when your child's worked through those a couple of times, just spotting the difference of how they've made the plural for each one of these words, you can then introduce these red cards. So in a dictionary, in a German English dictionary, you'll find next to the main word, next to the noun, in brackets, the way that you make it plural. That's why there's brackets on here, because this is how they'll see it in a dictionary. So if you see this in a dictionary, it means to make the word plural, you add an E onto the end. So we've got one there that you add EN. And that one there shows you that you just add an N. Now these two, you can see a hyphen. I'm just trying to get that clear. A hyphen and an E. And the hyphen has umlaut above it. That means that you put umlaut on the vowel in the word and add an E to the end. And this one, we put an umlaut on the vowel and add an ER to the end. So what the children can do then, you can lay these out. So you've got 5 different categories. So you can take der Kopf, die Köpfe. So what have they done? Can you see? They've added an umlaut and an E. So those ones go in this category here because they've added an umlaut and an E. Das Haar, die Haare. We've just added an E, so that one goes into that section. Der Arm, die Arme. We've just added an E. Das Auge, die Augen. We've added an N. And they would work through each set of words, with each singular and plural, and decide which category it's going to go into. And when they've done that a couple of times, they could have a go at writing down the singular and then trying to remember what the plural is, and then using the cards to check to see whether they're right. Or they could try to they could leave the plurals to one side and just work with the singular ones. And they could say, for example, das Haar, and they could try to remember, is it going to be das Haare, das Haarer, das Haaren, die Haare, or die Haan there? And they can work out, they can have a guess at which category it goes in. And then when they've put all of the singular words into a category, they can use their plural words to check, did I get it in the right one? Do they just add an E? Ah, yes, they do, so I've got that one right. Or maybe I put it in this category. Is it an N on the end? Ah, no, it wasn't that one. I needed to add an E, and then they could just move it over to here. So kind of testing themselves on whether they can remember how to make the plural of these words. So that's for the Das Lied über mich song. And then we've got the Zeigt her eure Füße song, which is all about some ladies who are washing and the different things that they do. And these are all verbs, so they're having a go at verbs here. So 3-part cards again, start off with the large card, matching it to the picture card, and then the word, and then doing it the other way around to test themselves. So we've got hängen, tanzen, spülen, bügeln, ruhen, schwatzen, bringen, and waschen. So they can just have a go at learning those verbs and do some different, they could do some writing or some pictures to go with the verbs as well. That's just learning a new set of verbs to describe a daily routine pretty much. And then there's Unser kleiner Bär im Zoo. This is a very straightforward one, and this one is just going to be done with actions. So if you sing this along at home, this is great for getting younger children involved, even if they are not learning German at the minute, but there's lots of hopping and stamping and dancing in this one, so they can just have a go at singing this one and doing the actions with it. And that's this month's German pack.